Bo Pelini, defensive coordinator at LSU. Bo is back in the saddle there as the defensive coordinator. Glad to have him back. Bo, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. Before we get into this, many times, Bo, I've sat in this seat and we've talked about the 2007 National Championship team.
Yep.
And T-Bob Hebert always lets me know that it was him being the two-time Scout Team Player of the Week, getting that defense ready is the reason we won the championship.
You're welcome, Coach.
There's no question. That's what it was all about. That was the key to the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, does Glenn become Glenn without me repping him every day? I just don't know. There's no way of knowing. We only live in the reality in which we currently occupy. And in that one, two-time Scout Team Player of the Week. On all seriousness, it was great because I got to watch Coach Pelini every day, and he's an ass kicker, and it's great to have you back, Coach.
It's great to be back, and I got to tell you, like anybody who had to line up against Glenn Dorsey every day, that's no fun. I got to tell you.
No. I mean, I quickly realized it was a little bit different than 2A Christian ball in the state of Georgia when Glenn's immediately on the snap, Glenn's hand would go to my throat and my short little arms would just be waving in the wind.
Yeah, it happened.
It wasn't because it wasn't like Glenn was one of those practice players that kind of just went through the motions. It was game day every day with him. So.
All right. But I'm sitting here thinking, like, you went from Glenn Dorsey to Ndamukong Suh at Nebraska. You had to be like, well, I'm just going to get one of these guys every single year.
Yeah, no kidding. They're rare, and it's fortunately, we got a couple guys that have that kind of potential on the team right now, and it's everybody's a little bit different. I have a lot of people for a lot of years wanted me to compare, like what's Dorsey compared to Sue, and guys have a lot of guys are just great players within their own right and within their own body and how they do things, and I was fortunate. I was able to coach a lot of great players and have coached a lot of great players, and I think that we have a few more in our defensive line that have that kind of potential.
I agree with you there. And as you come back to LSU, and a lot's been made right there, a 3-4 defense, and now they're going to a 4-3, but they also ran some 4-3 schemes as well, and you had a chance to see that probably on tape. But when you first get here, Bo, and you see the talent that you have, is it almost like you just hit reset and you say, hey, this year's this year, we're going to move forward with the guys. I'm going to allow them to go out there and practice, and we're going to see where they best fit in our defense?
Absolutely. I don't think, I've run 30 fronts and 3-4 stuff over the years. And in the end, you have to kind of do what your players do best. And it's not about the scheme. It's not about it's about putting your players, giving them the best chance to have success and enable them to do the things that they do best. And in the end, as well as I do, football is about playing harder than the next guy and being more detailed, being on point, and playing as a team. And there's a lot of things that go into that. A lot of the talk of, hey, it's 3-4 and it's 4-3. Football is football. In the end, it's going to be the team that executes the best and plays harder and more physical than the next guy that's going to have the success.
Yeah, and something that helps with all that as well is when you have really good players that will play really hard next to you at a high level. Coach, what's it like inheriting a defense that features Derek Stingley Jr.?
Well, he's one of those guys that, and I think he's a great player. I think he's got a lot of room for growth.
Oh.
I think he's going to keep getting better. He's a wonderful kid, first of all. He's a hard worker, and he's not one of these guys that's going to rest on his laurels and say, I've arrived. He comes out to work every day. He practices his butt off. He's a great kid. And I think that he's only scratched the surface of how good he's going to be. He's one of those guys that he has such unusually good ball skills.
Mm-hmm.
He can play the ball. And let me tell you, that's rare in this day and age because there's a lot of kids. You even watch the guys on Sunday. People struggle playing the football from the defensive back position. And he does it as good as any guy I've seen in a long, long time.
Coach, the memories that I have when we were together at LSU were all of the safeties that you would blitz from multiple places on the football field. But when the Red Sea would part and LaRon Landry would punish a quarterback, those are the memories that stand out when I think Bo Pelini and LSU and that defense. And we know you like to be aggressive, which I love as well. I can see Jacoby Stevens being that guy that can be that versatile player. Do you have plans for Jacoby Stevens right now, or is he that player that you can see doing multiple things in multiple areas?
I mean, I think Jacoby Stevens, first of all, I think the same thing. He's a leader. He's a smart football player. He's versatile. I can't say enough about him. I mean, I think Jacoby's going to be a guy that, I mean, I see him as being able to do so many different things. Yes, blitzing. He can play deep. He can play close to the line of scrimmage. He's going to be a guy that the NFL is just going to, they're going to be standing in line to try to get this guy on their football team because he can do so many different things. And he's tough. He's physical. He's smart. He's got a lot of potential, and I'm excited to work with Jacoby. He fits our system really well.
We're talking to LSU defensive coordinator Bo Pelini back in Baton Rouge once again. And, Coach, when the news broke, so much was made of the kind of stylistic change between Coach Aranda into you. You're a fiery guy, motivating guy. How do you feel the defense responded to that? Like we all talked a lot about it, but in practice out there for spring ball and training, how did the defense take to your style?
I think maybe the first time I kind of walked into the meeting room and addressed them, they were maybe a little taken back because I can tend to get a little bit excited, but I don't think they've seen. Obviously, I'm a little bit different, in practice and in the meeting rooms and such than how I'll be on game day, and I think it'll be a good marriage. I mean, I think you've got to coach within your personality and I love to compete. I'm not going to really change how I've approached things over the past. Coach Aranda is a little bit more of a cerebral guy. I mean, I know Dave, he's a hell of a football coach and has done a great job, but we have different personalities, and his works for him and mine has worked for me over the years. And I think our players will get used to it. And I think they like it so far, but they haven't seen anything yet.
hey, and I've told this story so many times on air, Bo. The best pregame speeches came from Bo Pelini. I can remember me and Flynn sitting there, and we'd get a pregame speech, but we wanted to know. We were ear hustling. What's Bo saying over there to the defense? And once he found out we were doing it, he would get us fired up as well. So, Coach, I might need one of those this year, first game of the season. When you see me, just come give me a chest slap and let it go.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're saying Coach Croton couldn't get the pregame speeches like that?
I'm just saying that Bo had a certain way to get me and Flynn and Dixon and us riled up, and we always appreciate it.
Very motivating.
Yeah, and that's what I love. Coach, talking about the middle linebackers there, Mike, Will, Sam, we know you're going to have multiple guys in multiple spots, and it's a group that really has a lot of talent. Maybe right now they're a little bit raw. You look at a Marcel Brooks and what he's able to do. Last year you had him he was on the edge there. He was rushing the passer. He obviously can play multiple positions. What right now would a Will position be maybe what Marcel's looking at as we continue to look forward to the season?
Yeah, Marcel's playing Will. He's playing like the weak side linebacker. Him and Micah Baskerville. But our guys are pretty interchangeable. I mean, our Mike right now is Damone Clark, who I think he's going to be. I'm real excited about him. Ray Thornton has moved back. He's playing. He's backing up. He's competing with Damone for that spot. And I like our group. I mean, we have. Jared Smalls, he's a walk-on kid from in town who I think's a talented kid, tough. And, I'm just kind of getting to know all these guys. Devontae Lee moved over to linebacker, and he's just kind of getting his feet wet. And then we have some other guys coming in. We got a couple more walk-ons who will help us on special teams and such. And I like the group, but I tell you, I think that I think they can do everything. They're going to be coached in a different system. They're going to be asked to do some different things. And so far, I'm real happy with how they've made progress. And Marcel's a kid who has tremendous ability. He hasn't. He's got a lot to learn, as do all of them. And I think that I'm hoping that we have good depth, that we can play a lot of these guys, keep them fresh, and I think that makes everybody better, and the competition will make them better.
Catching up with the defense coordinator over at LSU, Bo Pelini, here on Hang with Hester. Coach, I try to tell people that worry about the nose guard position, and you've got zero nose guys, and can they play out in different positions? I'm like, guys, a one technique in a defense is not that different than a zero nose. And if a guy wants to play a three technique, he can do it. He's not only a zero nose. Tyler Shelvin and Puaika, those guys can play, in my opinion, anywhere you put them. I know you've got to be excited about those guys.
I love those guys. I think, Tyler Shelvin, I think he can be as good as he wants to be. I think he's a really talented kid, and I'm excited about him. He does some things now. He's way bigger than Glenn was at this time, at this point in his career. But there are times when you see that 72, and I see him doing some things. He reminds me of Dorsey.
I know.
Yeah,
and he's just about probably 70 pounds bigger than what Glenn was at that point. Yeah, I mean, we have guys that can play. And there's technique. We don't coach. I don't coach we don't coach a zero nose any different than we coach.
Right.
You put a guy head up. You're either playing a head up technique or you're playing a shade. It doesn't matter whether you're lined up on the center, the guard, the tackle. I mean, we coach it all pretty much the same. And I think it'll be good for these guys in some ways. For our defensive ends, they're going to have they're learning some different things. They're out there. They're not always going to be lined up in four eyes and that type of thing. And I'm hoping, and I think it'll prove to be so. I think we'll have a lot more effective 4-man rush because it's hard to rush. People say the guys aren't great. Some of those D linemen aren't great pass rushers. It's hard to rush from a 0 and 2 and head up forward.
Yes.
And get these guys. You look at a guy like TK McLennan. You got guys that you put them on the edge. We'll see if they can rush, and I think they'll be a lot more effective pass rushers, and then that'll open up things for those guys inside, get them more one-on-ones, and get them a chance to really push the pocket.
Coach Pelini, I know that coaching football, it's always competitive, right? Game day is always exciting, but did a part of you miss Death Valley? Like how excited are you for that first game back in Death Valley, 100,000 strong, purple and gold everywhere?
I tell you, I can't. I've been fortunate in my career. I've been in a lot of different environments, some great environments, and obviously Super Bowl, national championship games, all that. And LSU was a special place to me. It was a special time. I love the people. I love the kids that I coach. I always say that, people always say, what is the key about LSU? I said, the key about LSU is keeping the kids home.
Yeah.
And because the Louisiana kids, they're high football IQ kids. They've been coached well in high school, and they're tough. You get kids. I'm not saying the kids aren't like you get the kids from Baton Rouge, from the state of Louisiana. They come in. They know how to work. They walk out there in that 100-degree heat, and they're not sitting there looking for a way out, or they're not looking for complaining or anything else. They know how to work, and it's a culture. It's throughout the whole state, and to me, there's a reason why LSU's been great over the years, and why there's been so many Louisiana kids that have made it in the NFL. It's because there's a certain culture down here, a certain toughness that I think, that makes this program special. Because the kids who come in from out of state, they have to buy into that culture, because the kids from the state set the culture.
That's an outstanding answer. I'm glad, me being from Louisiana, Coach, and T-Bob being from Georgia, you gave that answer to us.
I was born here.
So I do appreciate you giving us that answer, and I totally agree with you. Hey, last one for you, Coach. I know we've went along with you. I appreciate your time, as always. What about that virtual walkthrough room you have in the new facility? Is that something that you're excited to use? I've tried to figure it out 3 or 4 times. It's beat me up. Have you been able to use that room yet?
I have used it, and I can see during a season, when you're initially teaching, we haven't had as long a meetings. I mean, there's so many different things we can use that for. And let me tell you that there's a lot of kids. Kids learn. Every kid learns in a different way. Some kids learn by doing. Some kids learn by looking at the book. Some kids learn by walking through. And it just gives you a whole nother tool. And another tool also where, you're able to teach, put kids through walkthroughs and that type of thing without beating their body up, because we all know that the season gets long and there's just so many different things that as I'm around it, and I feel like it's going to be an invaluable tool for us. And that's one thing. You look at we had great facilities when I was here the first time. What they've done and how they've improved upon it and made it even better is just shows the commitment to excellence that LSU has.
Coach, it's been a lot of fun to catch up with you. Looking forward to many more moments with you now back in the saddle as LSU's defensive coordinator. We appreciate the time.
No doubt. Great hearing from you guys, and I look forward to catching up again.